I just want everybody to realize that it's not just, the end of the story, or that, you're just one of those hard luck cases. Because I'm living proof that it can happen. Miracles do happen. And I don't even know if this is so much a miracle as much as it is counting on somebody else's, generosity and selflessness, because that's where it really starts.
When I decided to be an organ donor, this actually goes back to when I was much younger, probably 7 or 8 years old, and I was sleeping over at a cousin's house that had recently moved to the area, and I remember he had a blue bumper sticker on the foot of his bed, and it was the now famous quote, "Please don't take your organs to heaven. Heaven knows we need them here." At the time, I didn't really understand that was an option. To me, as a 7-year-old, the idea of taking your organs to heaven didn't make any sense. So
why not become an organ donor? Why not give away things that you no longer have a need for? Why not give someone else a chance to continue living a meaningful life, to continue to be with their loved ones, their friends, the people that mean everything to them? Why not give those people a chance to continue living once you're gone?
There are folks in need. There are people that need these organs. And you have the opportunity, if the event presents itself, to help a lot of people. I think one person could help save 8 people's lives. By checking that box now, saying you're willing to donate your organs, you will save lives.
In 2016, I had a foot infection that developed into, something more than just simple treated at home kind of medicine. So I went to the doctor, and he had me direct admitted to the hospital, and literally overnight, the infection got away from me to the point that I turned septic. The doctors treated me with one of the strongest antibiotics that's out there, vancomycin. It resolved the sepsis, but it attacked my kidneys. Up to that point, I had never had any history of kidney disease. So my life really changed overnight. They eventually put in a chest port, and the following day they started me on dialysis. Prior to that, the only thing I could tell you about dialysis was how to spell it. From there we went on. I was in the hospital that time for 23 days, and I was on dialysis for, I think, close to 8 weeks.
It didn't look good in the beginning because he was very sick. It was a scary point because I didn't know what was going to happen to him. But then I guess we educated ourselves and learned everything about the dialysis, and every blood test you were holding your breath to make sure that his numbers weren't declining. It was scary. It was very scary.
After I came out of the hospital, I worked from home for about a month, and the first day that I got a full release to go back to work, my employer gave me a severance package and dismissed me after 32 years. It was just another gut punch after what I had just been through. There was a lot of tough times, but I think after that it was really knowing that we needed health insurance right away,
and
the severance package that I got pretty much went towards paying health insurance for the first 8 months, and then Maria's employer picked up the health insurance for us for a while. But as I said, when I was going through the interview process, which I hadn't done in so long, that I just was not finding anything or anybody that wanted to hire me.
I found out in February. I was on vacation in Puerto Rico, and I got the call that I was a donor, a match to him, and I could not wait to tell him. I was just so happy that I was able to do that for him. And just because while he was sick and going through the dialysis, every night he'd be hooked up to that machine, and it was just the most helpless feeling because there was nothing I could do to help him. And then finally it was like, I could do something about this now. And it was just the best feeling in the world.
Again, I remember picking Maria up at the airport, and her basically just diving into the car and giving me a big kiss and saying, "Hey, I can hardly wait to give you my kidney." And it was like, wow, this just isn't a simple match. With a lot of support and a lot of prayers and again encouragement, I'm sitting here as a medical miracle with my best friend. So I'm first and foremost grateful for her and grateful for the kids. When we went through this, both of us were down. It wasn't just me or it wasn't just Maria. It was both of us. So the kids took time off to come here and help us convalesce, especially that first month. It was really difficult because normally we care for one another, but this was something we had never experienced because we had both gone through a pretty major event. But when we found out the transplant was going to take place on Valentine's, like, wait a minute, you know what? There really is a higher power at work here because it was almost like all the stars were lining up, and we just knew that this was meant to be. And it was a long 3.5 years, on the dialysis part. But then when you couple it back to 2016, it was really more like 7 years. But I think that pulled us closer together. I think we kind of found out what we really meant to one another, and that was that in and of itself. It was almost like, wow, wait a minute, this is really something special. And when that call came and then, hey, you're scheduled for February 14th. No, and we were. And it was like, wow, this is really cool. So.
And he'll never be able to top that Valentine's Day gift.
No, won't even try.
He was definitely competitive. He was definitely very funny. He knew how to get under your skin, but do it in a loving way. There's never anything malicious or anything like that, but he knew how to poke and get people going, and it was always fun. Cody would come up to visit. It was always a good time when him, my brother, and others came to visit. So, first couple of years they'd come visit, they'd stay with us. Always had a blast. By the end, I had an extra semester at Penn State, so I actually lived with my brother and Cody and a few others. It was interesting. I learned at a young age at Penn State not to wrestle Joe because I never won those. Not that he was any stronger, he just had the training from high school. But, I remember Cody coming back when I lived with Cody, and he'd be all jacked up coming back from the gym and wanting to wrestle, and I was like, okay, I could take you. So we had fun. I remember one time, I forget if it was his head or his knee, something went through the wall. We definitely didn't get our security deposit back on that place, but it was fun living with him for that short period of time. He always got you to laugh, that's for sure. So since the inception, I think the foundation has had a few goals. Obviously, continuing Cody's spirit and helping those in need. I think it has been an astounding success on both fronts.
I think the Cody Brace Foundation has done a fantastic job in turning a huge tragedy into a positive. Being able to provide for underprivileged students to attend Scranton Prep if they so desire to do so, I think is a real positive for the community. Also, to be able to provide some financial assistance for families who are going through difficult times as a loved one is maybe going through an organ transplant. And it relieves the financial stress of the family as far as visiting the hospitals and staying at hotels and the cost of meals and what have you. A lot of these families might struggle, and I think most families would struggle as far as those particular events. But the Brace Foundation has certainly provided quite a service for them.
Think about some of the expenses. We travel from here to Philadelphia. The tolls are, about $25. The trips usually $40 or $50 in gas because it's about 260 miles down there. Sometimes I've gone as many as 3 consecutive days to Philadelphia, and that adds up. And again, you talk about wear and tear in your vehicle. all of a sudden I'm looking down at my odometer and it used to have 42,000 miles on, and now it has 69,000 miles. And I was like, wait a minute, geez, did I drive all of that? And I did. I did. And, I'm going to continue to do that. So, but as you're away, you have meal expenses because you're eating out.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's really kind of daunting, even to the point where you get downtown and, you got to find a place to park. And
parking alone at the hospital is what,
it's
$8?
It's something. It depends how long you are there, but once again, it all adds up very quickly. We're kind of at the end of that journey, and we have so much we want to give back, and it's through avenues like the foundation that give us that platform to do that. So.
Right, because we don't know where to go, to get the word out. But like even with the Brace Foundation now, we are able to say, hey, we are behind you. We think what you're doing is just such an amazing thing, because you're bringing awareness. You're helping people out like us. And just knowing that there's people out there that are willing to do that, it's just such a good thing to know that there's such good people out there.
Over the years that I've known the Brace family and have been involved in the 3-on-3 tournament and the fundraising event for organ donation awareness, I've just seen it evolve from something that was done to honor Cody and also, grieve his loss while also helping others. And over the years, it's transformed into a complete celebration of Cody's life. Added goal and benefit of raising money for organ donation awareness and becoming just an overwhelming force for positive change, helping people who are going through the organ donation transplant process.
What's most impressive is how the Brace family, all of Cody's close friends, everyone in the community stepped up and really turned this tragic event into an incredibly positive foundation and making a real impact, even 10 years after the actual event. And it's going to go on to the foreseeable future. I don't see this thing losing steam.
Hi, I'm Chris Quinn. I'm the secretary for the Cody Brace Memorial Foundation, and I'm a proudly registered organ donor. Education and advocacy about organ donation is a foundational tenet of what we do. I'm here to provide you with some information about organ donation and some information about what we do at the Cody Brace Foundation to honor Cody's final gift, the gift of life. There's about 118,000 people nationally waiting for solid organ transplant. The vast majority of these patients are in need of a kidney, but other solid organs that could be donated and transplanted include lungs, heart, liver, pancreas, and intestines. In addition to solid organ transplant, there's also tissue transplant, which includes bone, ligament, cornea, skin, and heart valves. One single donor can save up to 8 lives through solid organ transplant and greatly improve up to 75 more lives through tissue transplant. Every day, 17 people die waiting for organ transplant, and every 10 minutes, a new name is added to the organ transplant waiting list. To put that into perspective, during this event tonight, while we're here to celebrate, donate, and educate, there's going to be 12 names that are added to the transplant waiting list. Based on a recent study of a representative of the U.S. population, despite 95% of people polled agreeing with the concept of organ donation, only 58% of them were actually registered as organ donors. In Pennsylvania, less than 50% are actually registered. Through tonight's event and through our telling of Cody's story, it's our goal to help shrink that disconnect. Because of Cody's selfless decision to be an organ donor, when his life tragically ended, he was able to save or greatly improve many lives. His heart was donated to a 9-year-old boy. Part of his liver was given to an 18-month-old child. The rest of his liver went to a middle-aged woman. His pancreas and one of his kidneys were donated to a 12-year-old boy that had been on dialysis since he was 10 years old, and his other kidney saved the life of a woman in end-stage renal failure. His lungs were donated to a 66-year-old man who can now breathe again because of Cody's decision to be an organ donor. And Cody's tissues, cornea, and heart valves were donated to other patients, drastically improving their lives. Cody saved and helped multiple lives, all because he chose to be an organ donor. But not only did Cody leave his organs here to help others, he left his energy and he left his spirit here with us to create this foundation in his name and honor his memory by helping people going through the process of organ transplant. OTAP has helped 60 families through the transplantation process. Over $200,000 of grants have been awarded, and $150,000 of those grants have already been given out. Today, I'm here on behalf of the foundation, its recipients, the donors, and those in need of transplant, and most importantly, Cody and his family, asking you to consider registering as an organ donor if you're not one already. From all of us at the Cody Brace Memorial Foundation, I want to sincerely thank you all. It is through your support and generosity that we're able to honor our friend Cody by helping other people in his name, and we deeply appreciate your ongoing support and being here with us tonight. Thank you.